Have you found yourself holding that mega disc or alpha mega disc and you don't know if you want to open it, sell it, or just hold it for the long term? And how long might you want to hold it for? Well, I'm going to try and answer all of those questions today because I've gone into the APIs, I've taken a look at all of the data relating to discs of all kinds, and I'm going to give you all of that data right now. Now, keeping in mind that this data won't be updated past the 31st of March, not yet anyways. I'll make more videos if you want, just leave a comment down below, but I'm going to show you everything I have so far. So this chart's going to look a little bit confusing at first, but listen up and I'll break it down for you. So there is actually 4 separate charts here. I know that's confusing. I can't figure out how to fix it. If anyone's really good at Excel, let me know in Discord and I'll fix it later. But this is the 4 current charts. From left to right, we have the alpha mega discs in this kind of zone here. Maybe I'll zoom in. We have alpha mega discs here. We move to the right. We've got alpha standard discs. In this section here, second to last, we have mega discs. And then at the end, we have standard discs. Now, what you'll notice is that the alpha mega discs, the standard and mega disc happen just after the alphas, and obviously the alphas stop. But what I'm actually looking at here is how many of them are burned, how many of them are opened. I'm not looking at, how do I put this? I'm not looking at them being minted, and we can look at that if you want, but I don't think anyone really needs to. We just want the numbers. This is how many are burnt. What I'm finding really, really interesting is a bunch of people are waiting for the alpha mega disc, and then randomly they're like, you know what, I can't leave them unopened, I have to open it. Mega discs have a really similar pattern, but you'll find that standard discs are pretty consistent. They just, especially the alpha standard discs, they just got burnt out straight away. People bought them and opened them pretty much instantly, and you'll see that in my next chart in a minute. But it's really interesting that some of this FOMO has kicked in. In terms of the discs minted, we can take a look at this chart, and it looks really, really similar. This isn't looking at the alpha discs. They only lasted 3 days, so there's no point in really looking at that. But you can see that the standard discs and the mega discs get minted at a pretty similar rate, but the standard discs have diverged like you wouldn't believe from the mega discs in these recent times, especially with the leaderboards. I would suspect that has something to do with accessories. Obviously, standard discs are better to get for accessories because the accessory chances are the same in both of them. So when people are trying to get high and get lots of points, accessories are a really key factor to that. For Illuvitars, you can, for the most part, buy a lot of them off the market for $1, $2, things like your Lynxes. But for accessories, it's much harder to do so. So people are opening these standard discs, they're minting them and opening them straight away, as we just established, and trying to get all those crazy accessories to add onto their Illuvitar. So it's really interesting to see this chart spike up even more than I ever expected it would. So if we look at the actual numbers, the final stats, I know you guys are after this one. So if I zoom in a little bit more, there we go. Perfect. Okay. What have we got here? We've got the different types of discs that have existed, that are in existence. And then we've got the amount that are burnt and the amount that are unburnt, okay, which is denoted by that little IMX thing. I'm pulling this straight off the API, so that's how it lists it up there. So basically what we've got here is alpha mega discs, about 20,000 that were minted. So my numbers must be pretty close, and I think a bunch of people minted it right at the end, and they got in that window that Aaron was talking about quite a lot. About 13,500 of them got burned, all right? A very, very large chunk of them. You're looking at like 60 to 70% of them got burnt, all right? And about 6,600 are unburnt, and not many get burned every day. So this could be pretty much consistent for the foreseeable future. That's worth considering. Alpha standard discs, however, way more of them got burned, about 75% over 80% or so. No, not 80%, sorry. About 75% of them got burnt and about 20,800 were minted. So currently less alpha standard discs exist than alpha mega discs. Now, obviously alpha mega discs have better things in them, so they're worth more in a sense, but it's interesting seeing the comparison between the two. As for mega discs and standard discs, you see very few of them get left unburnt. With 50,000 standard discs and about 4,500 unburnt, you're looking at maybe 10% unburnt, okay, at most. For mega discs, there's even fewer. You're looking at 8%, where about 13,000 were minted. But this is interesting, right? More alpha mega discs were created than mega discs have been so far, okay? And more alpha mega discs were opened than mega discs so far. So technically, alphas aren't more scarce than mega disc so far. I mean, standard discs have lots of things come out of them, right? But if you're thinking about specifically things that came out of mega discs or mega alpha discs, the alphas are less scarce than the mega discs. And who knows, that might carry through to the future. Now, you can't see that denoted on the Illuvitar, so obviously alphas are still more scarce in the grand scheme of things. But it's a really interesting stat to see the comparison between the two. And I bet you didn't think that was going to happen. Now, it's not going to last forever, but it's really interesting to see kind of how this entire Illuvium Beyond sale has gone down, how people treated the alpha and the standard sale. And maybe if you are holding some discs, it might give you some better information on how you might want to judge that situation and what you might want to do in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out this next video in the top right hand corner. It's going to have something tailored just for you. All right.